Hi, good evening. Starmer and Lineker out of touch, and now one of them's out of time, and it won't be much longer before the other one's gone too. Good evening. It's the Jon Gaunt podcast. How are you? Are you putting up the flags for Lineker? He's got the sack at last by the BBC, thank goodness, and he deserved it, let me tell you. But let's talk about all the virtue signalers today, and let's talk about this dreadful deal Starmer has done with the EU. He's pushing us back into the EU. It's absolutely outrageous. He's going against the political will and the decision of the masses. But as I say, it's a big day for the out of touch elite. Gary Lineker, the most virtue signaling presenter, has finally been sacked after another round of political social media posts. This is the one where he put the rat. He didn't put it in there. He says he didn't see it. He has done it, and I'll give him his due. He has done a video apology today. So I suppose that's one thing in his favour. But there's been too much of him virtue signalling. He's just a footballer, for God's sake. He's also a bit of a stinking hypocrite. I'll explain later why I think he is a hypocrite. But what about Sir Keir Starmer? Where's that come from? Was I asleep or was I in a coma when we had another referendum on Brexit, on staying in or going back in? I don't recall being asked that. He's saying it was in his manifesto. Was it? But he wants the UK definitely under Brussels' thumb. And the worst thing is, we're going to pay for it. So our fishing industry is going to be decimated, but we're going to pay millions to be treated like Switzerland. To not be at the table, we won't be making any of the decisions, but we have to abide by the EU standards when it comes to things like food, meat, dairy, that kind of stuff. And there was also an underlining sort of feeling today when I was watching that press conference with Ursula van Useless and Keir Starmer. They're going to want a European army. They're going to dress that up as, oh, we need European security. What about Ukraine? Let's all work together. And before you know it, we'll be under the French or the German, well, not the Germans, because they refuse to do it, don't they? This is a very worrying time. He's basically gone against the democratic decision of 18 million people in this country. He has, and he hasn't consulted us. So him and Lineker, they are linked because they're part of the uber-liberal new elite. They spend years and years preaching from their ivory towers. But maybe, just maybe today, the tide is turning. Let's break down what happened and why it matters to the people who actually built this country. That's me and you, because it's important. It's really important. And if you want to comment, I want to hear from you. If you want to make a general comment on what you think about the Brexit betrayal, it is a betrayal. Starmer is a traitor. Starmer's obviously realised he hasn't got long left, so he's getting himself ready to become Supremo of the EU. Same ambition that Tony Blair had. They're all like it. They're just looking after themselves. That's all the self-serving pigs ever do. But Lineker, in my opinion, is part of the problem. There's a whole loads of people like Lineker, similar to Lineker. Let's just quickly say some hellos to people. Well, Robert Becker on Facebook says, evening all. Evening, Robert. Jackie Ward, I'll put these up. I don't know why I'm not doing it. We've been sold out again. Correct. Evening, J9. Who's J9? That's Chopper. Thank you. Robert says, now he's making a comment, I don't think Lineker saw that rat emoji on the Instagram post. Maybe he didn't. And as I say, he has made a heartfelt apology. But the bottom line is he shouldn't be involving himself in politics. He's a football broadcaster and he's using his position of influence. They should have sacked him ages ago. Do you remember when he had a go at Cyrilla Braverman, when he said that we were all fascists, that we wouldn't take refugees? Again, credit to him. credit to him. He did take a refugee in for a couple of weeks. So you've got to be fair, but I've had enough of the virtual signalling. I've had enough of people telling me to put a bloody horsehair shirt on and feel guilty for daring to be white and daring to be British. What do you say to that? Chopper, let's have your views, please. Evening, John. Apart from the odd Camden coffee shop nutters, I'm not sure the Remainers would want this either. A second referendum, maybe, but not ignoring the vote and destroying democracy. Chopper, that's a fantastic comment. In fact, that's the comment of the night so far. If you were a Remainer, are you happy with this? Because it's not right, is it, just to go against the democratic will of the people? If it said, no, I'm going to force through a second referendum, maybe I'd still be angry, but at least that would be fairer. Peter says, Starmer makes my skin crawl. You and me both, my friend. So it's Starmer and it's Lineker tonight. I say they're two peas in a politically correct pod. I'm glad we've got rid of one. I think the other one will go because I think today was the longest suicide note in history. He had no specifics. That's the thing with Starmer. He says, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it's going to be great. Really? We'll have to see how this shakes down in the next day or two. But I don't see how it's going to be great for Britain. And I think that's good what that guy just said. Even if you were a Remainer, he's broken democracy. Do you agree? Feel free to get in touch and tell me, please. So it's a big day for the out of touch elite. Let's go back to Lineker. The BBC have finally pulled the plug after he shared this other politically loaded post, this time involving that controversial image that somebody's just referred to of a rat, which obviously many Jewish people find offensive because that's what the Nazis did as well. But it isn't new, is it? Lineker's been using his platform, his position, to push progressive, anti-Brexit, pro-open board views for years. But the BBC is meant to be impartial. Lineker has had a free rein. He's had a few bollockings, but then he's been back doing it again. But now he's gone too far. He was meant to be leaving in about a year. He was still going to do the FA Cup next year. They've said, no, you're going now. And make no mistake, he's not resigned. He's been sacked today. And what I find disgraceful, though, is the BBC are going to still let him do his show on Saturday. I don't think he should be allowed to. If the offence is that bad, and I don't know because I'm not Jewish, but if it is that bad, he should go now. He shouldn't be able to have Alan Shearer and the rest of them around him going, oh, you're such a great bloke and all this, patting him on the back. I wanted him out years ago. I didn't even think, everyone's saying he's a great sports presenter. Well, he's better than he was, but he was crap when he started. And also, let's have a look at what he's done. Remember, he attacked the government over the small boats crisis. He basically said the Conservative government were acting like Nazis. Now, some of their language was harsh, but how else do we put them cut off from coming, Gary? As I say, credit to you. You took a refugee in for a couple of weeks. You did. I can't deny that. You did sort of back up your words. Well, for a fortnight, yeah? But I just think you've got yourself a little bit carried away. You think you are a politician. Well, you're not. You're a footballer with big ears. That's what you are. And you were a good footballer. And we loved you when you played for England. Didn't like you so much when you played for Leicester or Spurs. But when you played for England, you were brilliant. Can't take that away from you. But you're a virtue signalling you know what. And people like you get right on my nerves because you think you know how we're living. And the facts are you don't. And you make your living from our national sport. The BBC tolerated all this nonsense, but now public pressure has forced their hand. And let's not forget, this is the same man who criticised Qatar and FIFA for having the World Cup there, but had taken bucket loads of cash off Al Jazeera for many years before. I mean, he did do that speech at the beginning of the World Cup, which, although I thought it was quite a good speech talking about migrants, slave labor, etc., I don't think it had any place in a football program. And again, he was overstepping the mark. Now, if you disagree with me, I do want to hear from you. Let's get your comments in. Let's take some more comments, because comments are going absolutely crazy today. And are you with me when I'm linking Starmer and Lineker together? They're part of the same malaise. And ironically, so's the BBC. Until we defeat all of this attitude, we're never going to get true democracy again. But democracy has been denied today. This thing with the fishermen, they're out of business. You can forget fish. That's that gone. And all this other nonsense. I noticed he didn't bring back the freedom of movement properly today. That's probably because he got slagged off so much over the weekend. But he's going to bring it back. We're the worst possible world now. We've now got to do what the EU say and abide by their rules, but we're not allowed to be at the negotiating table. If you like what I say, can you please press the like button? And can you tell all your friends to subscribe? And if you haven't subscribed yet to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, do it. It's free. It's completely free and always will be. It just means you get an alert when I'm doing a show. I know, like tonight, it's a good turnout because you obviously got used to the fact I do it at 6:30 Monday to Thursday. But I did an extra one, for example, yesterday. What a reaction we got on that one as well. But you wouldn't know about it unless you subscribed. So please do subscribe. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to donate, it's www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or you can send me something on YouTube. Just press the heart button and then you can choose what donation you want to give. Everything you give makes the podcast better and allows me to carry on doing them effectively. And they are donations. Also looking for advertisers, also looking for a show sponsor. If you've got a bit more money, you might want to do that. Get in touch. But I tell you what, after a day like today, if you don't think what I'm doing and other independent broadcasters, podcasters are doing is important, you need your head tested. You cannot rely on the BBC anymore or Sly News. You need individuals like me who are willing to say it as we think it is, right? And I called him a traitor in yesterday's podcast because I believe he is. I think what he's done is a disgrace. Right, let's take some calls. Calls soon. Let's take some comments. Bryn Williams says, hello from rainy Sydney. Hello, Bryn. Good to have you on board all the way down there. Thank you for joining us. Fraser Ford says he's given the fish rights away. Yes, he has, effectively. You are correct. Should have been a second referendum for sure. Well, you see, I didn't want it. That's Andrew Cottrell on what you on? You on YouTube, Facebook. I didn't want a second referendum either, if I'm honest with you. But that would have been fairer. That would have been more democratic because the arguments could have been made. But what he's done is just run roughshod. He doesn't give an SH1T what you think or I think. I don't even think he cares what people who support him think. He's so, again, like Lineker, so arrogant. I mean, Lineker's got a right to be arrogant when it comes to football. He was a superb world-class player. Starmer's a div. What's Starmer good at? Starmer's good at letting people in on the beaches at Dover, isn't he? And representing terrorists. What's his value to the world? How is he clinging on as Prime Minister? That's what I can't work out. Right, let's take some more. Kerry Baker, the general feeling in pubs here is that even Labour voters have a deep dislike of Starmer. Well, I think you're right, Kerry. I think that's absolutely correct. I think you find it hard to find anyone in the country who'd say, oh, he's a good bloke, he is. You know what I mean? Like George Galloway. I mean, I used to work with George Galloway at TalkSport, and a lot of what he said, I didn't like. And when I met him, I quite liked him, and I quite liked some of the things he said. It's the same with people like the Beast of Bolsover. You can meet people of different persuasions and be a grown-up and think, oh, well, that bit of what he's saying is right. Dave Nellis, the Socialist MP for Coventry, you could do that with him. It's that kind of grown-up attitude, isn't it? But Starmer is just the worst Prime Minister ever. I had a row today with somebody because I wanted to describe him as the worst. And they said, no, you can't do that. And I said, why not? Because it's not been proven. So then I looked on the computer. He is, apart from Liz Truss, and you can't really count her because she lasted nearly as long as a lettuce. He's the worst PM. He's got the worst approval ratings. He's a snob, isn't he? And then there's all this scandal around his private life. And I'm going to go on to this in a minute. All the freebies. Don't go away because it's going to get really hot, what I'm going to say in a minute. Starmer's acting like a man who knows he won't win another term of office, says Rob. This is a very good comment. So he's screwing the country over to suit his masters and screw over anyone who takes over. What a very good point. I know Kemi said she's going to reverse everything. Dream on, love. That's if you get elected. Glenn Cricket agrees with that last comment. Thank you. Pip Tomlinson over in Spain. This way to inch closer and closer to Europe again. I live in Spain, and I know the Spanish have been pushing hard for this youth mobility scheme, as youth unemployment is rampant here. In other words, they'll get rid of them. Well, you know what? I think you're right, Pip. I think the other thing that will happen is what happened with Angela Merkel. She let a load of people in 2002. Then we got freedom of movement. Where did they all come? They all came to Britain. And that'll just happen again. I've not got anything against the youth movement scheme. I think it's a good idea for young people, 18, 19, to go to other countries and learn about their culture, etc., etc. I'm all for it. My daughter did it. She went to Italy and it stood her in real good stead. However, this scheme is up to the age of 27. Just remind me, I said this the other day and no one else has picked up on it yet. They will because they always copy me. How old are most of the blokes, the single fighting age men getting out of the rubber dinghies, the Dover dinghies? How old are most of them? About 20 odd. This is why it's so dangerous. Today, Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, has made an emergency chat in the Commons talking about the 3 Iranians. They reckon they came in either in the back of a lorry or on the boats at Dover. You see, and what will happen is Starmer will say, oh, it's been a success. It's been a success because there's not as many boats coming. No, because they're all on bloody, and he said the wrong word there. They're all on Eurostar. That's what's going to happen. And I think it's a disgrace. And I do think there's something in what that guy's just said. He's doing this to mess up the next person who comes in. That basically you become Prime Minister and you can't do anything. Let's move on to Starmer. Another man who said he'd respect the result of the referendum, even though he spent 2 or 3 years after the referendum trying to undermine it. But today, he's officially ditched that promise. Unlike Cameron, he hasn't run away, but he's now saying, yes, we do need closer ties with the EU. And he's doing it, in my opinion. I know he won the election. He's doing it without a mandate from the public. Do you agree with me? Brexit was all about taking back control. But Starmer's new push will quietly hand power back to Brussels through the back door. And we all know he's done quite a few things by the back door on policy changes, with trade alignment, legal cooperation, and ever more bureaucracy. This isn't leadership, ladies and gents. It's absolute betrayal. That's what we're going through today. Betrayal. And it's no surprise then, is it, that he's now one of the most unpopular, if not the most unpopular, prime ministers in history since records began. What are we going to do about it? Mark Anderson says, you're a footballer with big ears. Brilliant. What's that about? Oh, yeah, that's what I said about Lineker at the beginning. Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? That just came off the top of my head. Yeah, jug ears, isn't he? Huh? Good luck to him. He was a great football player, and I suppose he's okay on Match of the Day. He'll never come up to the great Des Lynam standards, will he? But who does he think he is to pontificate and tell us that we're fascists, we're this, we're that? He doesn't have any. He's very careful. He never used the word, but that's what he means. Or that we're racist. But of course, he's holier than thou. He's a virtue signaller. He's a marvellous guy. I do wonder that now that he's got the bullet from the BBC, will, how do I phrase this? Will certain stories now start to come out? And when I need lectures from somebody who, in my personal opinion, is one step up from a drug pusher, because he pushes junk food, or he used to, crisps. I just think he's no role model on that level. I think it's disgraceful. He'll probably now try and sue me again. He's done it before. He'll do it again. Mark Anderson, I really like that. Thank you for reminding me. I'll use it again. Jane Urquhart says, never liked him. Which one? Starmer or Lineker? Big Ears will be back. Channel 4 or Sky left-wing woke media love him. I don't think he necessarily will. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he'll go into politics. He seems to know a lot about it, or thinks he knows a lot about it. Rob, what good does the UK gain from having unskilled youth from the EU flooding the job markets? Again, PM, you are the worst deal breaker ever. You're right. He thinks he's Donald Trump, the art of the deal. Yeah, he's the fart of the deal. It's all wind. What my dad used to call pish and wind. Yeah, that's what he is. He doesn't know that this is going to work. He hasn't got a clue. He must be absolutely CRAPPING himself. Because if this doesn't come off, he is toast. And I think today was the suicide note being written, politically, if you understand what I mean. Because what did he get? I just want to go back to what you're saying there, Rob, because I do disagree with you. I think young people coming into the country, even if they're working as baristas or waitresses or cooks or whatever, they can add something to our economy. There's a lad who works with my daughter and her boyfriend. He's from Portugal, and he's basically a cocktail professor, expert, brilliant at it, right? And he's working over here at the moment, and that's good, and he's teaching other people. And if people go there, like when people go to Australia and work on sheep farms, or that's a cliche, or whatever, isn't that good that we're mixing? Of course it is. But there has to be a cap, like everything when it comes to immigration. And there has to be a time limit. In Australia, there's a time limit. There's a cap of 40,000 people a year. And they're a massive, they're a continent, aren't they, effectively? But no, Starmer wants to let everybody in. He's just a plonker on every single level. And he thinks he's got the majority view because he won the election. He only won the election because everybody else was so terrible. Yes. Listen to Reynolds this morning. As for timelines, they say F4. Oh, it's the details is ongoing. The business secretary knows nothing. Yeah, right, says Craig. He's not absolutely, he said the wrong word there as well. No, he is, isn't he? He's a hole. You know what the first word is. He's the one who said he was a solicitor. He never, ever passed his exams. He never took his exams. But then we've got a chancellor who says she was an economist at the Bank of England. No, she wasn't. It's all fibs. It's all lies. Then we had another woman, head of transport, Haig. She lost a mobile phone. Then she found it again, but forgot to tell the police and started using it. Where I come from, you'd either get a kick in or arrested if you did that. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Mr. Perfect, not, says Jane Urquhart. Yeah, that is the point. Starmer does think he's absolutely perfect. And you know what? I think he thinks we're all the scum of the earth. David Edwards, what's he saying tonight on YouTube? Diversity is not our strength. Stop the votes and stop the invasion. It may not be our strength. I probably agree with you, Dave. However, it's good to have. This country is better now that it's more diverse. But the people who come, you can be diverse, but you've still got to be British. That's where we've gone wrong. We've not insisted on learning the language and all those things. All those things that Starmer's suddenly coming up with as if he's had a brainwave. Nice to see that John does not take any advice from experts or even his own life experience. How did Brexit go? Oh, you're having a go? Go on. Was there any benefits? Did Farage lie to you? But you still believe him? Shame. Yes, I do, Derek. I can answer all those questions for you. Do I take advice from experts? Yes, if they're suitably qualified, although I would always question them, even doctors. I did that with my diabetes and I got a lot better. What about my own life experience? Yeah, I do work on my own life experience, my friend. How did Brexit go? Well, Brexit hasn't worked at the moment because we've only got it in name. Why haven't we got it? Because people like Theresa May delayed and then Boris messed up and everybody else, the whole establishment. I couldn't believe how much the establishment have turned against the idea of what the British people want. So you're right, Derek. It hasn't worked because we haven't been delivered it in the correct way. Were there any benefits? I think there's loads of benefits. But we never got out of the ECHR, which is why we can't control our borders. But I'll tell you what, Derek, we'll sort that. We'll learn from experience. We'll put all those asylum seekers in tents, like I've been suggesting from weeks and weeks and weeks, if you've been watching or listening. We'll get them all in tents. That'll put off people. We'll then train a load of young lawyers to process these people. If they've got a right to stay here or a skill, we'll let them stay. But what we can't do, Derek, is just let it go on because it's totally and utterly unfeasible and we haven't got the money. We cannot afford for 1,000 people a day to be getting into the country illegally. Are you with me or are you against me? So I'd put the troops, I'd do Donald Trump's idea, I'd put the troops in the Channel, the Royal Navy, and the Army on the beach. And that's how I'd do it. I'd treat the people, though, with absolute dignity and protect their human rights. Not when it comes to appeals to want to stay in, though. So then Derek finishes by saying, shame. There you are, Derek. I think I've answered your questions. Derek was so keen to get on, he's actually sent another one. Is it the same? Let me just check. Yes, it is. There you are, Derek. I hope that's answered your questions, and it shows that I am quite willing to take other people. Oh, no. Derek has come back because when Derek loses an argument, like all left-wing idiots, he has to say things like this. The comment section reads like the Daily Express. Do any of you have ideas of your own? Are you not a patriot for your own country and Prime Minister Sir Keir? I'm not a patriot for Sir Keir. He's not our country. And when he tried to take over our flag, I thought he was a disgrace. I'm a patriot for our country. Yes, I am. Oh, and it reads like the Daily Express. And what paper do you read? Is it The Guardian? Let me guess. Derek, why do people like you have to be so biased? Why do you have to be such a snob? Why do you think that you're the only person that matters? You see, because the very thing that you're accusing my listeners, my viewers of, you're doing the same. You're talking cliches. Oh, well, Brexit's bad. Farage is this. Farage is that. He's a fascist. Rather than address the issue. Because when I say to you, how would you stop all these people coming? Well, do you agree with me? It's unsustainable. We can't keep letting all these people in. Because if you do, tell me what your solution is. Tell me your solution. I'd love to hear it, Derek. Because you're obviously a genius. And you read The Guardian. So we should listen to you, shouldn't we? Anyway, let's move on. Derek, that is an open line. If you want to come on, feel free. These two, Lineker and Starmer, have got so much in common. But they've got a lot in common with Derek as well, haven't they? They all talk endlessly about fairness and equality. And I agree with that. I want to live in an equal society. I want to live in a meritocracy. I want to live in a society where everybody can get on, regardless of their sex, their gender, their sexuality, the colour of their skin. Of course I want that. I want that. I'm a working class lad, first person in my family to go to university. Of course I want it. So they talk about fairness and equality, but these stinking hypocrites, the elite, they live lives full of privilege. Not only privilege, of freebies. Let's look at Starmer's record since he got into power. Let's talk about the free suits from Lord Ali. Ooh, suit you, sir, suit you, sir. The free dresses, frocks for his wife. How about the free football tickets for Arsenal? Oh, they weren't football tickets. It was a box because, of course, Sir Keir can't sit with the people he represents. No. And then he got Taylor Swift VIP tickets and most of the cabinet as well. Why do grown-ups want to go and see Taylor Swift? And why the hell should they get a freebie? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Lineker, meanwhile, he got rich, apart from his football playing from a crisp company during the obesity crisis and preaching politics on the taxpayer's dollar. They all say one thing and do another, and they've got away because they've assumed we won't notice. But I think there's an awakening now in the country ever since COVID. I think people are saying, we're not taking it anymore. You're not going to get away with it. I wonder when Derek's going to come back. Where are we now? How do we stop the demolition of our country? We have this man for several more years yet. No, Phil Ray, please don't get carried away. That's on Facebook. We haven't got him for several more years. He's got another 4 years maximum, right? I don't think he'll last that. I think today he started to really mess it up even more. You can't say mobility, John. Laugh out loud. What was that about? Did I say something I shouldn't have said, Craig? Tell me. That's on Facebook. Oh, I like the way now as well that if you are on Facebook or YouTube, your picture comes up on the screen. So if you watch it on repeat later, you'll see your name and your picture. Although Pip Tomlinson, I don't know who that is in that picture. But anyway, my problem is I'm older than 27 and I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get my Spanish residency after Brexit. This is a kick in the balls, says Pip. Thank you, Pip. Send me an email with more information on that because I'll be interested in looking into that more, please. I think Starmer. Oh, no, listen, Robert, we can't talk about the. Everyone keeps calling that fella a rent boy. I don't know where the evidence is for that. I've seen that on Twitter. I think we should be careful about that. And did you see today another person has been arrested now? 3 people charged with dropping these fire bombs, whatever you want to call them, on Starmer. 3 people. What's going on there? Again, why aren't we being told? Or why have we been told they're Ukrainian? And why have we, all of that came out immediately and it was terror immediately. However, the slaughter of 3 girls in Southport, it wasn't terror. I just asked the questions. We can sell fish more easily, but we've got to fight more to catch the effers, says Craig Urquhart. That's a nice one, Craig. I like your humour. I like it. Michael Bailey, Starmer can't control anything. He has lied and dictated to the British people. He will blame everyone but himself. Right. Going to come back to your comments in a moment. I just want to finish off talking about these 2 clowns and what we can do about the situation, which I think is sweet FA at the moment. We have to wait for them to completely mess everything up. But today was a bit of a wake-up call because I think the people, us, the plebs, I think we are paying attention now. And the days of the elite double standards are numbered. They won't be taking tickets for Taylor Swift anymore, will they? Lineker's got the boot. Starmer's slipping in the pole quicker than a wet mackerel on a trawler's deck. No, didn't quite work that metaphor, but you know where I'm coming from. And more of us Brits are waking up to the fact that our voices are being ignored again. The referendum, whether you were in favour of it or not, was the biggest democratic exercise ever in this country. I think ever in Western Europe. And Starmer just thinks unilaterally, I can ignore it, which is what he's doing. And how up herself was that Ursula, what's her name? Ursula von Leyen. And who was the other guy who was there with them? I know it's Europe, but what language was he speaking? I'll be in trouble for saying that. But what was he there for? Just to make up the numbers. Oh, we've got 3 podiums. I'll tell you what, get that bloke. Remember the BBC got that black fellow on who they thought was an expert, but he was just a chauffeur. It was that kind of, just get him on. Just stand him there. Because he didn't say anything for the first part of the press conference. Ursula von Leyen was loving it. She was rubbing our noses in it. And I agree with Nigel Farage that it's not going to last. He's absolutely shot himself in the foot. He thinks he knows and he understands British people. He doesn't. Working people, as he'd call them, the working class. He wouldn't know the working class if he was mugged by them. If you're tired of being talked down to by these hypocrites, will you please make sure you press the like button? Will you please make sure you share it? If you're listening on a podcast later or even now, please press the like button. Please tell all your mates about it. And please subscribe for more no-nonsense commentary that I think actually reflects the majority view in this country. Enough is enough. Are you with me or against me? Brilliant on the likes tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Can you keep those likes coming in? We'll do another 5 or 10 minutes if you want to talk. Jane Urquhart says Lineker. Jane Urquhart says Starkers too. What's that about? I don't know what's going on there, Jane. You're getting carried away. Can we have these European youths on temporary 3-year contracts, guest workers? Well, I think that's the idea. I don't think it's Starmer's idea. Starmer's like, open the door, let everybody in, right? But if these kids came over for a couple of years, what would be wrong with that? And they were sharing their language and their skills. That's good. That's good. And our kids can go there. That's good. No one's donated anything. I must be rubbish tonight, even though I've got loads of people watching. Leave the ECHR and give up your right to a fair trial, to practice a religion, or the right for assembly, to have a meeting of like-minded individuals. Yes, I do know what it means. I love the way when people think, oh, Jon Gaunt's thick. He's a thicko. Let's compare educations at some point in the future, shall we? But not now. Greenacres, you can have human rights without being in the European Court of Human Rights. And you can have fair trials. I think you'll find we were having them long before the EU was thought up. And people have been able to practice a religion for ages. I would say there's some religions that maybe shouldn't be allowed to be practiced, or extreme parts of them, but that's a different issue. The right for assembly, we've still got that. The right to strike, it's one of the essential things of our democracy, and I'm a great supporter of strikes. Talking of which, why is the bin strike still going on in Birmingham? What's up with them? Not the unions, the council, the management. Oh, I know what it is. They've gone bankrupt, so they'll blame the workers. So Greenacres, do not give me, or attempt to criticise me or give me a lecture about human rights. I actually used the Human Rights Act when I unlawfully got the sack from TalkSport. I worked on one of my business partners, and I'm doing some work with him at the moment. He's a human rights lawyer. I don't think they're all bastards. You idiot. Open your mind. Do you understand the concept of dialectics? On the one hand, there's this, and on the other hand, there's that. And you keep both arguments together, and you can argue with yourself. You think I'll just sit here, do you? Playing one note. Fair enough. The tourism reform need to really step up now and prove they can save the country, because one, if not both together, will need to be ready come next election. Please, God, don't make it the Conservatives. They were given their chance. They effed it up, my friend. My son is coming home from Thailand after being there for 12 years, says Jane. His wife and daughter are coming with him. Both got degrees and good jobs. The amount of SH1T they're going through to get here is a joke, and that's what's not right. I agree with that so much. I had a mate like that, and basically paid taxes all his life, did all the right things. I think it was a Thai girl he fell in love with. He couldn't get her in the country. That's when it's wrong, isn't it? How is the ECHR holding back controlling the borders? Well, you know that, because that's what they use when they appeal. 1 appeals, okay. 2 appeals is taking the piss. And 3 appeals get lost, right? Oh, I've suddenly realised I'm gay and I can't go back to Jamaica because they'll persecute me. Oh, hold on a minute. What's the charge you up on? Oh, rape of a woman. Oh, yeah. So you're gay, are you? Right, okay. Do you understand what I mean? That's where it's wrong. And controlling we're a sovereign nation. This is the bit you don't seem to understand. If we want to be in the ECHR, or we want to have a form of it, that's our democratic right, and we'll decide it, and on we go. I'm all for that. What I'm not for is foreign judges making decisions, and I'm not for the idea that the EU can tell us what to do. Have you ever been to the EU? Either to the Commission or to the Parliament? I've been to both several times. You would not believe the waste. It's what finally convinced me I was into Brexit. I've been there. I've seen it. And I've seen the waste. And by the way, why do we want to join something that's failing? That's just ridiculous. Rob says he's answering Derek from before. Derek, the Guardian reader. Yes, Derek, I have my own ideas. I'm a patriot to my country and absolutely not a supporter of this Prime Minister that doesn't care for this country or its people and never has. Absolutely right. Here we go. Greenacres, he's into Cliche Valley now. Farage is a traitor. He wished the IRA a happy birthday. Did he? They killed dozens of our servicemen and innocent civilians during the Troubles. Well, I'm going to upset you now, because there weren't Troubles. It was a war, but we were too scared to call it that. It was a war. It was a war of independence. That's what it was, my friend. I'm not an IRA supporter, but if you want to talk honestly about it, I mean, I can talk to you honestly about it if you want. I've studied it in depth, right from the Easter Uprising. I did a play once at university. It's a 24-hour long play by John Arden and Margaret D'Arcy, I think her name was. It's called The Non-Stop Connolly Show. Brilliant. All about Irish politics. And it's a lot more complicated than you're suggesting, my friend, with your bias, your lefty bias. Dark Angel, where have you been recently? Brexit wasn't finished by Boris. He left the door ajar. I'm surprised Starmer didn't jump on it earlier. Let's go to Chopper. I've got to stop in a minute, but you lot just keep sending in comments, so it's good stuff. Could you send in some cash now? What are those things called? I can't remember what they're called. On YouTube. I don't know what it's called. Why do all his supporters drop in the sir when talking about Starmer? Nothing to be boasting about. They also gave Jimmy Savile a knighted. I'm saying nothing. Brexit was screwed from day one as the Remainers did all they could to sabotage it. The same Remainers will have no problem with this non-manifesto deal from Labour, obviously. Good points. Thank you very much indeed. Slip in the poll. Love it. Oh, am I doing jokes and not even realising it? God, I'm talented. The elite, the billionaires are the ones who are winning with you lot. Oh, Miriam Bates. We've got a lot of lefties coming on tonight. That's great. What have you got against somebody being a billionaire? Tell me, Miriam. Send another little note in. I think we should encourage those people. I admire them. I respect them as long as they've made their money legitimately. I've got a few friends who are certainly multi-millionaires, not necessarily billionaires, but I'll be celebrating with them if they ever hit that target. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I can't keep up with all this rubbish. Oh, sorry. Says Enid Patricia Mather. Starmer can't keep up either. I thought he was Prime Minister. He doesn't know what he's doing. Why don't we take no notice of him and carry on without him? He's not listening to what's going on. You're right, because last week he said he was going to go harder and faster. I didn't realise that meant he was going to just do exactly what he wanted. And last week, didn't he say, I get it about immigration. You're annoyed about it. You're annoyed about illegal immigration. I will sort it out. Didn't he say that? And then this week, he's saying, let's have an open door. Let everybody can come in. And he's identified a youth. And I find this a bit disturbing. He says a youth is anyone between 18 and 27, is it? Or 37? I think not. I mean, I know we've had some 40-year-olds in shorts in schools pretending they're 5 or 6 because they haven't got any records. And because of the stupid EHCR, we can't actually check them. It's very easy now with DNA to check how old somebody is. No, we let them go in. Play Russian roulette with them. With our children. It's mad. It's like all the people getting out of the boat. We don't know who they are. Most of them are probably lovely people. Only takes one wrong one, doesn't it? 2K for an appeal. Madness. Oh, what's that about? Standing order from me, John, says Craig Urquhart. Thank you very much indeed. What, you're going to do a standing order for me? That'd be good. Thank you very much. He's resurrecting the 18 to 30 club. That's quite a funny line, Craig. Thank you very much indeed. So, listen, there is a link between, what's his name? Lineker and Starmer. These people infest every part of our lives. TV's all run by these woke idiots with their rainbow laces. Did you see Eurovision? Ooh, disgusting. And what about TV? So then you've got sport, then you've got all the rest of it. They're all singing from the same woke hymn sheet. And I think it's outrageous. And they're not in touch with the common people. And when the Labour Party aren't in touch, then we've got a problem, haven't we? And Starmer is completely out of touch. What people want now, Starmer, is dead simple. Stop the boats. Smash the gangs. Smash your avocado. Bash the bishop. Whatever you've got to do, do it to stop it happening. And then, as I keep saying, let's deal with the people. It's disgraceful that the Conservatives did sweet FA for all these years. So you do something. You do something. Let's get through the backlog of people without giving them an amnesty. If there's people there who can help our country, then let them stay, even though they've come illegally. We shouldn't let them stay, but there we are. And then have well-managed, controlled immigration. What's wrong with that? Dave Whiteman's just donated a couple of quid on YouTube. Dave, thank you very, very much indeed. If you're looking at the comments now, you see he gets highlighted because he's given £2. Why don't you ever go at that? Kerry Baker says, smash the avocado. She likes that. I thought the line after it was quite funny as well, but that's a different issue. Listen, we've got to do something. Too long we've all sat on our lardy arses and done nothing and let them run or riot. Time to take back control properly. And what he's doing is just disgraceful. It's just disgraceful. He sold our fishermen down the river today. He's well, the rest of it's kind of, I sat there open mouthed what he wants to give them. Where's the negotiation? In a deal, you're meant to get something out of it, Sakia, you posh knob. You're meant to get something. It isn't just, oh, yeah, cool. What, you want that? Yeah, how much? Oh, yeah, do you want some more? Go on. Are you sure that's enough? Unbelievable. But you see, you look at the Conservatives, they couldn't negotiate their way out of a brown paper bag either. And that's why I think Farage, I don't even like Richard Tice. I think he's got the charisma of this table, but he's a businessman, so he'll know what he's doing. And all you snobby little lefty Guardian reading, Birkenstock, I like Birkenstock, Birkenstock sandal wearing, let's go to Kefalonia and go skinny dipping types, smash an avocado, grow up. One of the funniest things that happened this weekend was on Twitter, I was having a row about something. Loads of people started abusing me. Well, you're this, you're a big fat knob, you'll be dead soon, or that. And they're the polite ones. And I'd go back to reply to them and they'd say, you can't reply to this person. And then you look into it, they've blocked you. So it's a bit like a drive-by shooting by the liberals, right? They come by, go, you fat, and they do use words like this. But if you're listening on the audio, I'm saying the words under my breath, right? And then you go back to say, well, that's not very nice. Or wash your mouth out with carbolic soap like we did in the children's home. You plebeian, right? Something a bit witty. Or thank you, Einstein. And you can't reply because they've blocked you before they insulted you. You couldn't make it up. All right, I'm off. I bet you wish this was smell-o-vision. I've been cooking a chicken. Hold on a minute. I better go. It's going to burn. I'll see you tomorrow at 6:30. Hope you can join me then. Thanks very much for making this one so successful. If you have enjoyed it, just go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Donate a £5. Lots of people donate 15 quid. I've got to say well done to Valentine for doing that for me today. Thank you. Or you can do it here on YouTube. Chopper says, night, John. Have a nice evening. I'm going to. Thistle says, see you later. And as you can see, I'm at my daughter's babysitting as well. Oh, dog sitting. I didn't tell you this bit. I've got 2 dogs with me today. Huh? Turn it into a business if I'm not careful. Probably make a few more bob than trying to entertain you lot. Squeeze money out of you. Anyway, there we are. Anyway, I'm off. All right. See you tomorrow, 6:30. Make sure you're here. There's going to be loads. I'm sure there'll be something to talk about. Starmer will have cocked something up again. I'd like to not talk about him if possible. If anybody's got any ideas, let me know. Thistle says, nice. That's 25 quid an hour. What? Dog sitting? I get sweet FA. If I'm lucky, I might get a glass of wine later. Night, John, says Dark Angel. Night, Dark Angel. You're going to try and get here on time next time. See you later. All right. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.